Sunday slot where we're going to have a half hour or so, 20 minutes, half hour of some fabulous music and a guest, our songwriter, singer who's created this music. If you want to have a look at this, it's also available also on our event program. So the Global Veg Fest 1, you can see all the talks and the panels we've had all weekend. It's some fabulous entertainment and talks, panels, debates, everything to do with veganism and plant-based living, really. So there we go. And of course, with a global flavour. And on that note, it's absolutely very, very much a privilege indeed to be able to welcome from Dublin our guest today, which is 14-year-old Ruby Moss. And Ruby is a singer-songwriter with a recent #1 hit in Ireland, which is pretty impressive. So Ruby, come and join us. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me here.
How are you doing? So you're in Dublin at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be just taking a weekend off school at the moment. Are we back to school fairly soon?
Yeah, back to school in a few hours.
Yeah. Okay. So that's very good of you to come and join us today. We are going to be playing both your songs in a bit, one after the other, but not together. So we'll have a little break in between. But it's quite exceptional, really, to see such a rise so quick, really. Your first song, I mean, you wrote that, I think 2 weeks before your 14th birthday or something. It was even a bit before that. Tell us a little bit about this song before we play it. We'll talk a bit more about other stuff, but let's just talk about the song first. So.
Well, the first song I wrote in September of first year, and I was feeling kind of sad going back to school, and I felt like I didn't know how to socialise after the pandemic. And then the tune came into my head and the words, and I was telling myself it would get better. And it went from there, really. And then in the summer this year, I got to record it, which was really lucky. March this year.
So it's basically come out of lockdown, and it's about being lonely, and then it's come out, and you've had quite a rapid. I mean, it got quite a lot of airplay, and I think it went to there's a #1 in the download charts in Ireland. Is that the?
Yeah, #1 in the singer-songwriter iTunes chart.
That's fantastic, and quite a lot of interviews too, and attention from some quite well-known people, I think, in Ireland too. I've seen, some journalists and stuff have picked up on it.
Yeah, my mum's helped with that as well, advertising, I suppose.
Yeah, your mum's been doing some fantastic work. I've got to give compliments to your mum here. She's been absolutely brilliant. What a great promoter to have. But this isn't just the song. It's not just about the songs, obviously, which we'll come to. We'll have a listen. But there's a number of other things going on too. I mean, first of all, of course, Ruby, you're vegan. You've been vegan, I think, 6 years or so, vegetarian since birth. How important is that to you at this stage, then?
That's really important. It's a big part of who I am, and I can't really imagine it being any different.
But what's really your motivation for being vegan at the moment? What's your kind of key
thing? It's better for the planet and the animals, and we should all be treated fairly, and we shouldn't be exploiting animals, any animals at all.
I absolutely agree. Yeah,
you still have the rights to live.
I completely agree. And about treating them fairly too is something I think that's a key word. Is we don't have to necessarily love animals or be compassionate with animals. We just have to be fair, and animals, deserve to be treated fairly and justly. And I agree, they have a right. They have a right. And you've been supporting some pretty impressive charities talking about animal rights organisations. There's quite a key animal rights organisation that you support too, don't you, with your songs?
Yeah, I support Go Vegan World for the animal rights one, which is a really good charity that advocates for the rights for animals, all animals and humans.
And Go Vegan World, of course, is run by the marvellous and very inspirational Sandra Higgins.
Yeah.
I think Sandra, who also runs a sanctuary, an animal sanctuary in Ireland. But the Go Vegan World, of course, a lot of us will have seen the billboards. This is the big billboards campaign. It's a basic, very clear, rights-based billboards that focus on the use of animals and why we should be ending the use of all of these animals. And so it's a very powerful charity you're supporting there. And that's really interesting. But there's another aspect too, that there's a second charity too, which I think is very close to your heart, isn't it?
Yeah. There's also Jigsaw, which is a really good charity that mental health for youth, which is really good because mental health is so important, and it's important that people know that it's okay to be sad sometimes, and there are people you can talk to help.
That's a really important message, and it's quite difficult to talk about mental health. I think it's quite a taboo, and I think all of us have issues, and especially lockdown, pandemic has exacerbated those, and I think there's very little support for it. And I think one of the problems is people don't talk about these things enough. It's not that comfortable to talk about your mental health problems with people. But that's what I think part of the power of that song, which we will come to in a bit. People, if you're listening, we will be coming to this song. But supporting a mental health charity is a very important aspect, I think.
Yeah, and mental health should be normalised because it is normal.
And tell us a little bit more. I mean, we're just coming back now to when you wrote this song. I mean, basically, and I have read this, that you were basically alone at school, and you were felt pretty isolated, and you just, kind of had to work through it and find within, the ability to just make the best of it, I guess. Tell us a bit more about it. Just tell us how you wrote that.
Well, it was just from the start I was feeling really alone, and I didn't really have many people to talk to. Then there was also the vegan thing, which made it a bit harder socially. And well, it kind of got better as the year went along, and it's kind of more just realizing that things will get better and that I'm not alone and it will be okay.
Well, I can certainly say when I was 15, about this time of year, I would have loved to have heard that song and known that other people were experiencing that loneliness. It's brutal, and it can and does mean people can, unfortunately, as far as not wanting to live anymore. And I think it's true for all schools at the moment. So obviously, a lot of people going back to school. That's true. I think if you're seeing somebody in that school environment that's perhaps a little bit alone or doesn't look like they fit in, just how important it is to perhaps say hello or offer a bit of friendship. So, Ruby, look, we're going to have a listen now to the first song. So, do you want to introduce this, and then we'll have a listen, and then we'll come back and talk about the second one?
Okay, this is Invisible, and I wrote it in September. Just about all of the school things and feeling alone, and just to let people know that things will get better.
No one wants to wait for me, wants to hang around, so I'm on my own. Another day I pretend to look busy, pretend that I don't care, living on a lie. I told myself
Wow. Oh. That sounds
Thank you.
seems to have an echo. Oh, that's good. Maybe that's an exceptional song. Did you write all of that?
Pardon?
Did you write all of that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's really exceptional. I mean, that really is. There's some really stunning parts of that. There's a couple of lines in there that really, the one about looking busy. Whoa. That's a really powerful line. But the piano is like, oh my gosh, that's fabulous. And you're classically trained, aren't you? I mean, you are musically trained. You've got some, I believe it. Is it an organ scholarship? Is that right?
Yeah. I auditioned for an organ scholarship this summer at my school, and I got it. And it's really fun.
That's really exceptional. I mean, an organ too is quite kind of unusual instrument, I think, for a budding, perhaps songwriter. To be classically trained in music, playing an organ is a really extremely interesting dynamic. So that was your first song, Invisible, and it was really about being lonely, and I think that touched a chord. It obviously did go straight to number one. I think it hit home for a lot of people. It was a captured a certain moment in history in a way. Your second song is more got a theme about climate change, I believe. That's where your real interest too, and perhaps concerns lie. So could you tell us a bit about this second song that we're going to hear in a minute?
Well, this song is called Shades of Grey, and I first wrote it during a frustrating conversation about musical genre, and I didn't really know what genre I am, and I don't really describe myself as one genre or the other. I was trying to explain that. But then it turned into the bigger thing about climate change and trying to get through to people and telling people about it and trying to get them to listen.
How much of that is a problem, do you think? I mean, getting people to listen. We've been talking about that this weekend, about activism, climate change, animal rebellion, and other activists. It does seem that we've got a real resistance to.
Yeah. It's really important that people listen now, and not a lot of people do.
Do you think music is going to be a way that you can really express your message? Do you think you can develop this? Have you got sort of more plans?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to push my message through about climate change and veganism through my music to get people to hear it and listen to it and try to help them understand a bit better what's going on with the world.
Well, you've certainly been doing that. I mean, you've had, as I just mentioned, it's a real attention, which is quite rare to just kind of, wow, it's not every day that people get that attention in such a short space of time. Not saying that you've not got more to do, of course, but you've got, I think this is the first song, as you said, the second song, Shades of Grey, which has a climate change theme, and it's one of three songs, I believe. In fact, the second one is the second one of the trilogy, I should say, is already, I believe, recorded and ready to release fairly soon. So some exciting plans. Tell us a little bit about that then.
Well, the second one is called Stranded, and it's going to be coming out in, I'm not sure, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Okay. And then there's a third one too in the trilogy.
Yeah. The third one actually isn't named yet, but I'd say it's probably the strongest one that I have, and it's kind of gradually. So this one, Shades of Grey, and then there's Stranded, which is a bit more like kind of powerful, and then there's the third one, which is unnamed.
Okay, so obviously quite exciting, and it's quite exciting for us actually to be talking to you kind of literally as these songs are sort of unfolding. you finish the song, it's really powerful, but it hasn't got a title yet, which is just great because that'll obviously come. So it's exciting for us to be talking to you at this stage. Indeed, we were talking to Jennifer, the vegan songstress, this morning, who's also from Ireland, and writing songs about veganism. And Jennifer was similar. You know, she wrote a song just sort of 2 weeks ago, which she hadn't finished. It's just the bare bones, and then she's literally just recorded it. I think a couple of days ago, we were able to play it today as a finished song, which I was privy to 2 weeks ago with its bare bones. And you know, it's just fascinating to see the confidence developing and the range, and certainly for yourself, like, I think there's a lot more to come. Before we go, what I suggest we do is say goodbye and then finish on the song for our audience to listen to, so that you know, we get to savour that moment too and listen to the song. But I think, you know, how, you know, given that your first song was about don't lose hope, a really important message, especially for people going through mental health challenges and feeling rock bottom. There is nearly always that hope that things will get better and come out. Do you think that's the same with climate change? Do you share that optimism?
Yeah, and the more hope there is, it will be probably easier to change it. Everyone, we can spread the message and people will know more about it.
What sort of interest at school are you getting now then? Is that been a change at all? Is any, you know?
Well, my friends know about my songs, and that's pretty cool. Nothing much has changed significantly though. But it's really cool, like, they know about my songs, and I don't know.
Do you think there be some room? Do you think if they may actually influence it? Do you think people may change? Do you think people might go, what? It's got on a plant-based diet, you know. Do you think there's room for that change? Do you think we're going to do it? Are you hopeful? Are you hopeful?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Hopefully people will think about it a bit more now. And at school, I would be talking about veganism quite a bit when people ask about it, and also when it just comes up. So hopefully it just at least gets in their head, so they're thinking about it even a little bit.
It's very important to sow those seeds and keep having those conversations, and particularly, Ruby, I've got to hand it to you, and I think it's possibly, you know, some good influence from Mother is that rights-based approach. And I think we've been talking about how to build a rights-based movement, and just making clear that basic one right that animals have, that they're not ours, and they're not all animals have that right. And really all we've got to do is be fair, be just, and not be using animals. So that's just a really clear message. It's not complex. It's not that hard to talk about and say. And I do agree that it's very important. And I think it's the best form of activism, is to be having conversations with your friends, trying to influence people, especially through your art forms. And I think you definitely achieved that. So well done, Ruby. Thanks ever so much for joining us today. Thanks for your mum for putting this together too. Well done. And perhaps let you close with a message or a little goodbye, and perhaps a message to Global Veg Fest and the audience and people who've been listening now, and then of course later on the replays, and then we'll go into your song Shades of Grey.
Okay, thank you so much for having me here today. It's great to be here.
Thanks, Ruby. And here's Shades of Grey.
Thank you.
You just say it's black and white, but I just think you're never right. Don't ignore the shades of grey. there's more than just dark and light. Why can't you see things from my side? Don't ignore the other way. If you see things in black and white, there's many things you'll never sight. Don't ignore the shades of grey.